Okay, let me just clap into the mic as loudly as I can. Do not put that in. Hello everyone, thank you for coming back to my channel for another video. Today I'm talking about something else that people are just dying to hear about, and that's the power of reading. So this is definitely something people are always asking me about in the streets. They come up to me, people I don't even know, strangers walking up to me en masse, and they say, "Sam, what is the power of reading?" Which obviously does not happen. Very few people care about the power of reading, but you found your way here, which hopefully means that you're interested in hearing about what I think the power of reading is. And I'll say in advance that I am biased. I do, after all, have some skin in the game. I teach a reading and writing intensive course at Hopkins University, so reading is something I get pretty amped up about. But I'm going to tell you a few reasons why I love it so much, and maybe that will help you love it a little bit more. That's what I'm hoping for, because developing a reading habit has helped me, and I think it can help you too. The specific benefits it offers depend on your specific circumstances, but reading is a special skill because of its universal applicability and its relevance, I would say, to everyday life. Modern civilizations depend upon literacy, and insofar as they depend on reading for a kind of functional baseline, the point suggests that any number of rewards will follow as a consequence of developing your reading ability. And I think that is, in part the power of reading. But let's dive in and push a little deeper. For me, the power of reading has everything to do with pattern recognition, which maybe feels like a strange doorway into this idea, but I'll try making myself clearer. What we're doing when we read is we're following and exploring a single train of thought forward. That's what a book or a poem or an essay or short story is. It's the linguistic equivalent of a painting. It uses the tools at its disposal, which are words in this case, to try capturing your attention. It's easy to forget that what narratives are, most fundamentally, are ecologies of meaning, the details of which are uniquely specific to the piece of writing itself. Reading something, especially a great work of literature, is again the linguistic equivalent of looking at and analyzing a painting, except instead of paints of all different colors that are blended together, it's just words that are being used. And in this way, an abstracted ecology of meaning is created in the mind of the reader. And this is something, this phrase, is one I've used before, both in this video and in those before it, ecology of meaning. And I think it's so important to consider this phrase when we're thinking about what the power of reading is. So what do I mean by ecologies of meaning? Well, in this analogy, I'm basically asking you to think about, great texts, especially fictional and poetic works, as unique ecosystems, the patterns of which can teach you things or touch your emotions once you've deciphered them, let's say. And in a way, this communication between the reader's analysis and just the reader's general connection with the text is similar to being able to name different species that call a literal ecosystem home, be they plants or insects or really any living organism. Although I would argue the act of reading trains us to use our pattern recognition skills in a way that's much more fundamentally useful and applicable in everyday modern life, given reading's relevance to many people's everyday experiences, which is something I briefly mentioned before. So in a way, yes, one of the great benefits of reading echoes a benefit of being able to identify different species in any given ecosystem, which is to say that it informs our relationship with the world around us in some meaningfully significant way. Our knowledge of an ecosystem familiarizes us with the natural world around us, which we are, continually interacting with. Similarly, reading great works of literature, and I'm talking about fiction in this example mainly because, that's where my heart really lies. Reading great works of literature can familiarize us with the human ecosystem around us, with the ideas and the passions and the people that we might come across and might indirectly or directly influence the course of our lives. And I'll return to that point in a moment, but really the point I'm trying to make here is that the power of reading lies in its ability to familiarize us with our human landscape, let's call it. Reading a book is a uniquely cognitive exercise because the idea is contained in your head. Your interpretation is alive. The picture that you see in your head is, it's shot from a projector that is powered by your focused attention on the text itself. And that always strikes me as so incredibly beautiful because it suggests a relationship between the work of art itself and the viewer, and a relationship between the two that is entirely unique to reading. And in this way, the detailed ecosystem you would find in nature, which we talked about before, something that's symbolically similar to it exists in your own head when you find a book that really captures your attention. Your subconscious instantly populates the fictional landscape with projected images drawn from previous personal life experience. And I think that doing that is an exercise in deciphering and recognizing complicated patterns. But what do I mean by that, by pattern recognition? I mean that being able to follow a complicated idea and use your imagination to continually and cohesively give form to its contents, that's an associative exercise. There's a rhythmically consistent movement of ideas that rewards your attention as you go along. And what I mean by an associative exercise is this. When you read a book, you're following the logic of one sentence and you're allowing it to carry you to and to prepare you for the next sentence. And in this way, you're constructing a detailed picture in your head. You're creating an ecosystem that is saturated with meaning, which is uniquely yours. And let's think about that. When you read a scene that takes place in, let's say, a kitchen, and again, I'm talking about a fictional work here. You read a scene that takes place in a kitchen. You might see your aunt's kitchen or your best friend's kitchen or some conglomeration of like many kitchens that you've experienced firsthand. And what this indicates is that a unique kind of communication exists between the book and the reader. Reading a book is not the same as, say, watching a movie or looking at a painting. And the difference lies in the viewer's relationship to the image of the work of art itself. And in reading, it looks like the image is a unique projection in the reader's own head. And with, say, watching a movie or looking at a painting, the image is separate from the viewer. And I'll add here that I'm obviously talking about a best case reading scenario. Obviously, we all wish we could have our attention captured by an outstanding and gripping literary masterpiece. I can't be the only one, but it's important to point out that not every book we pick up really sparks our attention or grabs us and pulls us in. But anyways, you're constructing a detailed picture in your head, an ecosystem of meaning, an ecology of meaning. And by doing this, not only are you training your ability to focus, which is almost as important of a thing to do, in my opinion, as exercise your physical body, but you're also training your ability to decipher and to contend with causally linked patterns, something that I mentioned briefly before but want to explore more deeply now. And this idea of pattern recognition is an interesting analogy that I'm really trying to drive home in an attempt to explain the power of reading as I see it, because I think it's a profound idea. The idea that the power of reading lies in its ability to capture your attention and reward you with simulated life experience, which is to say vividly hallucinated and abstracted representations of reality, meaning the action that the writing itself is describing. I think it's the more useful equivalent of immersing yourself in virtual reality, honestly. When we read, we are hallucinating an ecosystem of meaning that pertains in mysterious and half-conscious ways to the specificities of our real life. The power of reading is we interact with a piece of art which we play a part in creating. The words and the syntactic construction are the engaging generalities, and they stand as the topical details that can give rise to our uniquely meaningful interpretation of and interaction with a story. And that's the power of reading, as I see it. Our interaction with the story, with a great work of literature, can teach us things that are of immediate value to our present circumstances. When we read, our subconscious processes the incoming information in a way that maximizes its value to us. And again, that's obviously when we're kind of most engaged by a book. And I think that's amazing. Reading is hard, but that's the way in which it can reward us. We find ourselves in our favorite books. And I think that potential of self-discovery and really what it means to be able to discover new parts of yourself in books is the power of reading. And with that, I just want to say thank you for sticking with me. I know this was a lot. Hopefully, though, I was able to give you some idea of what the power of reading is, at least as I see it. I want to thank my video editors, Bach and Joe. I can't tell you guys how much I appreciate your help. This wouldn't be possible without you. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know what you think in the comments section down below. And if you did find this video helpful or useful or interesting, I ask that you please like and subscribe. Thanks again, everyone, and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.